Cinema has been, for decades, a massive weapon to change minds all around the world. Think about how the Americans just spread the American way of life all around through cinema, through advertising, through television. When we created Cut, the main issue was how to make cinema a very powerful tool to change the world in a way. We are in Cannes, and it's very pleasant to be here in this very sunny morning with this fresh breeze. But climate is changing very fast. Now climate scientists are telling us that we are going to cross the limit that we were not supposed to cross, this 1.5 global warming between 2030 and 2035, which is a catastrophe, and it's getting faster and faster. So at some point, maybe we won't be able to do the same movie we are doing now in the years to come. So in a way, we don't have a choice. We need to change. And we need to change, cutting the emissions, the carbon emissions of our movies. But we also need to change about the stories we are going to tell. Cinema has been, for decades, a massive weapon to change minds all around the world. Think about how the Americans just spread the American way of life all around through cinema, through advertising, through television. Think about how the Germans during World War II, for the worst, used cinema to mindfuck their own people and to spread the Nazi ideology. I don't know if you know that, but in 1943, they had 1 billion viewers in the cinemas in Germany. And it's been really effective. And Stalin, Hitler, and the Americans, and many people around the world just saw the cinema as a way to influence our representation of the world. And if we think about the current situation, it's very difficult for us to foresee a future which could be bright. When we did Tomorrow, it was that documentary we did in 2015 with Mélanie Laurent, our main objective was to tell the story about how could the future look like if we would put together some of the best solutions we already know. Because, I don't know if it's the same for you, but when I started to get interested in the environmental issues, every time I went to see a documentary, I wanted to kill myself at the end. Because it's so depressing and it's so urgent and it's so the catastrophe is here and there's nothing we can do. And if you look at fictions, every time we are talking about the future, it's like the apocalypse. There is a new Mad Max coming out these days. And so the future is like a desert with no trees anymore, no water. People are just fighting with guns to grab the last piece of food available. And where are the movies telling us about how could we fix the situation? How could we reinvent our relationship with the natural world? How can we live in a world where the carbon emissions would go down in the next 10 years? We don't have those movies. So we definitely need to write those movies. And personally, I think that's the main thing we can do with cinema. That's absolutely important to cut our emissions, of course. But the main power we have is to influence all society with the story we tell. And this morning, this girl who committed the movie, talking about our relationship to the natural world through a trial involving a dog and a woman who was bitten by this dog, is going to talk about that.
I want to say thank you to you, Cyril, because I read your books a lot since, 5 or 6 years. And you always said in your books, we have to invent new stories and it had really been important for me.
Cool. Thank you for that. So when you started to think about the dog on trial, was it an intention for you to create a story that could change mindset of people, or do you just wanted to tell the story?
Maybe I can go a little bit earlier because for 5 or 6 years now, I've been working in the theaters as an author. I've been writing plays, and I've been always working on. My question was how art or how I could help asking questions about our relationship with nature. And I did a play with a horse on stage. We were alone. And I was already talking about exploitation, domination of the animal. And through our relationship with the animal, our relationship with all the other beings that are not animals, that means vegetables, or vegetals.
Non-humans.
Yeah, but also humans, actually, because exploitation is also human. And so I wanted really to go on working on this subject. And also I was looking for a form, a shape that would be for everyone. And I thought that comedy could be nice because comedy is for everyone. It's not also too depressive. So I thought that maybe it would be the good thing. And dogs are great. I love dogs. Everybody loves dogs. But we built dogs the way they are now. That means 40,000 years ago, dogs were wolves. And since then, we have been selecting them, making couples, making them have children,
Reproduce.
puppies. Yeah. Reproduce. The more docile ones, we castrate them to make them puppies. We make them, we built our best friends. And that's exploitation for me. And that's exactly the link we have with every other being on this planet that is not human, and even with humans. And so I'm very moved and touched by our proportion to exploit others. And I think what is going on now with the ecological situation is because of our disproportion we have to exploit. So for me, and I think to put a dog on track, because a dog in the law, it's considered as a thing. Animals are considered as a thing in French law and Swiss law. It's a little bit more complicated, but to say simply, that's that. So that's why we can eat them, because we don't kill them, because it's forbidden. We destroy them. And in my film, I said, yeah, it would be funny and also very maybe interesting to see if a lawyer could prove that a dog is not a thing, which is not that difficult to prove, actually. And so the judge would say, okay, he's not a thing, so maybe he's someone, so he has to be judged. And I'm sorry. So I think this was a good start for comedy and also to ask big questions on animal stature and other being stature. Right now we see that forests can have juridic statutes. The world is changing, so it was not that far from reality. And also it was far enough to be funny. And also, it's not that funny if you see the film until the end. But spoiler.
We do laugh and we do cry during the movie, which is really very interesting in what you're saying, is that you are first moved by something.
Yes.
Because most of the time when we're talking to writers or directors about that, they're kind of afraid to make a bad movie trying to push a a thesis, you know, like in French we say un film à thèse, like you try to defend an idea through a story, and the story is just a pretext to say something. And usually it makes bad movies. And what we are trying to do with Cut to accompany those writers is to make them experience things, just to be moved and to be preoccupied by the situation. Because we know that as soon as a writer has some kind of sensitivity issue with something, he or she can write a good story. And that's pretty much where you started, but from something that is really
intimate,
powerful, very moving to you.